Call the cops on me. On a mission to be champs and stay let me free. Prepare for combat, my adversaries crumble. Face it, I got a reputation for damage. Busters get ready to rumble. They lock me in a cell, have me trapped in a living hell. Though not guilty, I'm still in jail. Brother, I serve my time like a soldier. Maintain composure. My shadow boxing the fight to the death, busting boulders. Every boxer with a pair of gloves. Best give up love. Here's a man from the makings of a thug. A lethal weapon.
That's awesome. And look, you can hear us talking now. We're getting ready to start.
Now once a high school dropout. Now I'm the $1 million champ who's the next to get knocked out. Straight out of
What's going on, everybody? Another episode of Cheesy's Box Show. Angelo here with my boy JP. JP, what's up, man?
Man, oh shit.
As you can hear us talking as we're introing up the show. First things first, follow us on Twitter at Cheesy's Box, iTunes, rate and review. Be the next unofficial sponsor. Help us out, people. Get us a Christmas gift. This is the show before Christmas. The last show before Christmas. Today's what, the 21st? Today's
22nd.
Is it the 22nd?
21st. Damn, I'm the one messing up people's
I was like, man, I'm
dates.
already a day off?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. So it's the 21st. But get us a Christmas present of a couple rating reviews, man. I know you guys are out there. I know I can look at the listenership. I can see how many people are listening. I know some of y'all got to be running some iPhones and shit, man. Come on, man. Help us out. This keeps the show more noticeable. And, we'll shout you out and give you your show.
Just do it while you're in that long ass line in the mall.
Or on the 26th when you're in that long ass line to return all the bad gifts.
I can't believe they bought me that bullshit.
Email the show, cheapseatsboxing@gmail.com. Questions, comments, anything like that. We always get back to you. Welcome to all the listeners, all the platforms. I mean, I want to go through it. Let's see if I can do this. I think I tried to do this last time. I'm going to try to do all the platforms. iTunes, Stitcher. I'm not going to say Podomatic, but sometimes it is. Windows Phone, SoundCloud, YouTube, TuneIn, BoxingPodcast.com. What was the other one I said? Podbay. We got thrown up on there somehow. Google Play. It's just like it's like we're taking over everything. But welcome to all those listeners, including an old one that I forgot. What was the old school?
Zoom.
The Zoom listener.
You
What's
know
up?
what? Fuck it. PlayStation 4, Xbox One.
It actually is on the Xbox platform. That is true.
Yeah.
Because that's who took over the Windows Phone stuff. So the people who still have the old Windows Phone works. The Xbox One it still works.
You can listen to us while you're playing Assassin's Creed.
There you go. Where do you want to start, man? This last weekend. I mean, there wasn't really a lot happening this last weekend. Nobody really fought. No legends or anything, right? No, or maybe some legend.
I don't want to talk about it.
Let's put it like this. Y'all know what we're talking about. Bernard Hopkins gets knocked out in the 7th round against Joe Smith Jr.
He was 176 years old when it fought.
It's funny because I kind of giggled about this. Like people who said Bernard Hopkins doesn't belong in the ring at almost 52 years old. Joe Smith took that shit literal. All right, let me get his ass out the ring then. Literally knocks his ass out to the ring, drops him on the back of his head. Not the way that people wanted to end, but unfortunately in boxing, this is how most of the time it does end for these guys. JP, what'd you think, man?
It's really all about the knockout. I mean, it's about the knockout, about the fallout, about the I got pushed out, about the, I'm special, he's common, and I'm common, but I'm going to kick your ass. Culmination, about youth versus age, about power versus lack of power. Actually, about greatness versus humility. Because even after the press conference after it was over, Joe Smith asking for his autograph. So, but about saying right now, you got knocked the fuck out. But
yeah, there really is. That's pretty much it, man. I mean, he can say whatever he wants to say. He got his ass knocked out.
But for now, like I said before, I'm gonna call it like it is this week. because that was fucking crazy. But after this week is over, he goes down as one of the greatest boxers of all time. But this week, one of the greatest boxers of all time that got knocked the fuck out.
All right, so let's you guys will actually know this when you guys hear next week's show, which is going to be the part 1 of the awards show episode, where we actually say, you know what, it's Friday. The Friday, a week and a couple days before Christmas. So we did the little show early. And I gave Joe Smith, the fighter who came out of nowhere, the number 2 spot. Well, obviously, if I could go back and change it, I would. I had him at 2, JP had him at 1. Spoiler alert. I don't think that's much of a spoiler. Obviously, I would change it now. But it is what it is, man. It's impressive. I mean,
Power.
Who has 2 more impressive, upsetting, dominant knockout victories? Nobody in boxing this year. That's just how it is. He's the common man, yes. I don't know if the alien would have got knocked out of the ring. Executioner did.
He really got knocked out of the ring.
But I'm just saying he went back to the old school executioner style on his entrance. No more alien mask. Okay, I want to give Joe Smith his due, because whatever he gets from here, he's earned it. I mean, he gets a shot at Kovalev, he gets a shot at Ward, he gets a shot at Stevenson. It doesn't matter. He's earned it. Each and everything he's going to get from here on in the future, he earned it the hard way.
Yeah.
The hard way. When you're a full-time construction worker and a part-time fighter, and you can do this to these level of fighters, and from far and Bernard Hopkins, and I don't care what anybody says, only very few people picked Joe Smith. My buddy Vince from Telltale was one of those guys who did pick Joe Smith. I wanted to, because it's like, God damn, he's 52. It's got to happen sometime. But it's just like, Bernard has always been that guy who made me always second guess myself, and I couldn't pick against him, and I didn't. And even thinking that he would lose, I didn't think it would be in this fashion.
Give Joe Smith. Here's the thing. I got to give Bernard Hopkins credit to give Joe Smith credit. Because nobody needs to say that Bernard Hopkins was 52. Because we had the same conversation when he fought Kovalev. Bernard Hopkins is a different individual. Beating him at 52 is still beating Bernard Hopkins. You know, he could be a diminished 52, but his 52 is 36.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So let's give Bernard credit for being able to last this. The motherfucker was fighting as long as Joe Smith been living.
Yeah.
You know, that tells you the amount of greatness he got. So in saying that, I'm saying this is what makes Joe Smith's win legitimate, because it's Bernard Hopkins. You know, and right, he did get it the hard way. They're gonna make a movie about him. I guarantee you. You know.
The true Cinderella man.
The new, yeah. Plus, but what he has on the table, I doubt he's gonna get Ward or Kovalev. I think they're gonna make their rematch first. But between Stevenson, but Barrera, I think that probably will happen.
It's possible that could happen. So he earns whatever he gets. Congratulations to him. I hope the fool gets paid like beyond belief on his next fight. I hope he's making high 6 figures.
Absolutely.
And I hope he can finally get out of that construction job and focus on boxing. Because if he's putting this kind of work in when he can't devote all his time to it, there could be something pretty good there. Now, as far as Bernard Hopkins goes, just the end of what I considered maybe the greatest career ever. It's one of the 3 greatest careers probably ever. It's a greater career than Manny. It's a greater career than Floyd. It's a greater career than Oscar, because of the longevity of the level at which he fought at, the level of fighters that he was still able to beat, the level of fighter that he was able to even hang with. It's crazy when you have the record for the most consecutive title defenses at middleweight.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got scalps of Pascal and He beat Jermaine Taylor. Sorry, he beat Jermaine Taylor. He beat Pascal both times. Kelly Pavlik, Oscar De La Hoya, Tito Trinidad when everybody thought Tito was going to knock his ass out. Antonio Tarver, after what Tarver had been doing to Roy Jones. I mean, yeah, I mean the rematch with Jones is what it is. Even the later wins like Tavoris Cloud, Bebu Shumanov, like not the best in the division at the time, but
McLeod held a belt and Shumanov
held a belt, and then he did fight the best in the division. And look, he took his beating like a man, and hell, when a guy like Stevenson won't even get in the ring with a guy like Kovalev, the fact that he got in there at almost 50 years old says everything you need to know. I'm telling you, it's one of the greatest careers ever. He's not the greatest fighter of this generation, but in this generation, he's had the greatest career, as far as I'm concerned. Those are two different things, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, to me, he's a guy who had 3 different careers. You pick a decade. He had 3 different careers in each one of them. You know, he had this career on the back end. He had his career in the 2000s, which people forget. He's got so many moments, it's ridiculous. People forget about the Trinidad fight. That was after September 11th.
Mm-hmm.
People forget that. People forget prior to that, when him and Roy got into the first fight, and it was like 10-2. But they was like, look, this Hopkins guy gonna come along. People forget the ascension after that.
And that first Jones fight was one of the most boring fights you'll ever watch. It's funny because I'll tell this story. My wife, she was kind of falling asleep as the fight's coming on, right? And this is why I go quiet on Twitter. I generally do not watch the fights on Saturday unless they're in the afternoon. I generally record them. Me and the wife hang out, and then Sunday morning through Sunday afternoon, I'll kind of piece together. I'll throw a fight here, and then I'll watch another fight later. And then, but she's falling asleep. I'm putting these fights on. I said, shit, Bernard's fighting. And she's like, Hopkins is still fighting? Good God. She goes, how long has he been fighting? I said, funny you should ask. Because that Jones fight, I watched in the first apartment I ever had. It was the first fight that came on when I first got my cable and HBO. I think that was, 93? I think that fight was beginning of 93 because we moved in December 92. So that would have been, like right at the beginning of 93. And that was the first fight that I watched on my cable in my apartment when I was freaking 18 years old. That's how far back it goes. I'm 42 years old now. Shit, so there you go. Now think about that. Bernard Hopkins is almost 10 years older than me. So he was already 28 years old when that fight happened. He wasn't even a young fighter. I mean, he was young as far as experience because, the prison sentence and everything. But, I mean, that's how far back it goes. But the beginning of the fight, you know what was funny, man? I thought that he looked weird. His movement was odd at the beginning of the fight. That first round, watch him move. His feet are like these baby steps, like side to side. It was like weird, awkward movement. I didn't understand it. It's like he looked like timid. He looked scared. He looked like a fighter who really had never fought before. My wife actually made the thing. She goes, he actually looks like he's like some flamboyant gay guy fighting for the first time in the boxing ring. And she wasn't even trying to be mean. I just started laughing because it's like he kind of had that, like, I don't really want to get hurt. It's like, and Smith hurt him right away, but he just looked odd. He got into a groove later on in the fight. But that 2-year layoff, man, that was big time on him as far as rushing is. Because go back and watch that first round and watch his feet. Watch the way he moves. It was ugly, man.
That's kind of one thing I didn't want to address. Is I saw some of the little clips of the training with John David Jackson, and I saw that early. Mm-hmm. Like even he was doing the mitts, and I was like, that shot ain't gonna work in a fight. He have nothing on that. You have there's just no mustard on this sandwich right now. And I was like, this is not going to be pretty but it is a 2-year layoff, and it's Bernard, but the thing about Bernard is he's so experienced that people figure his defensive skills, he could get his way out of rustiness by being effective.
And he earned getting the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, yeah. So it's like, you can't say somebody like, I'm sorry, you can't say Bernard's lost and Bernard's washed up because we just said it so many times and he's proved us wrong so many times. It's like, it's stupid to say. But you can say, well, it looks off right now, but it's Bernard. Who knows? Joe Smith knows now, but shit.
I think Bernard had four episodes of his career. He had the first fight, which is his first loss, all the way up to the loss to Jones. That was the first part. That was his learning experience. That would be his start to boxing. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like that was him as a almost a prospect. His learning curve. Then you have after Hopkins that segment to where he had the 20 defenses as champion, and then he starts to become an older fighter, older in the sense of 36 years old, 37 years old, and he gets in that middleweight tournament with Oscar and Tito, and then there's that from that point on, because everybody's like, he can't do it at this age. That was like that third part of his career that went all the way up to Kelly Pavlik, where it's like he's 42 years old now. He's now gotten too old, like he can't do it. And then the 43 to now, that part of his career, I think was the last part where it was like people just kept on waiting for the ball to drop.
And it was the Joe Calzaghe fight that people, he was done.
Yeah, exactly.
He was done.
Exactly.
He was like,
he finally got, and Calzaghe, it's funny because now the Jones win for Calzaghe doesn't look better in retrospect.
Right.
But that one against Hopkins looks all right. Now remember, that was a split decision.
Right.
And Bernard probably, would that be Bernard's last knockdown? I'm just wondering.
No, because you remember he got one against Shumanov.
Did he get one against Shumanov?
I don't know how Shumanov got knocked down, but I believe he got one like early in the fight against Shumanov, because it had been a millennia.
Because he knocked Calzaghe down like in the first, right?
Like, second, because him and Roy knocked him down in the same round.
Yeah. And that was tooth and nail. And you're like, man, that guy went tooth and nail with an old ass Jones and an old ass. Well, especially now he schooled Jones. He went tooth and nail with an old ass Hopkins. And people were like, man, but now you look back, that was a long time ago. Calzaghe has put on a lot of weight, been retired for a long time, did a lot of cocaine since then.
You know, the crazy part about, and I always thought this, I bet you Roy and Bernard probably think the same thing. We should have finished his ass in that second round. Because both of them had plenty of opportunity, because if I'm not mistaken, they didn't even hit him clean when they knocked him down, both of them. One of them was like a paw, one of them was damn near like a fist in the wrist. Like it wasn't clean at all. But they both just let him get up and fiddle around until he peppered their ass to death afterwards.
I can safely say now, he needs to retire. Now it's time to hang him up now.
I think he is now.
Yeah, and I think he is. He even said so afterwards. No, that was it.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Is it a Sugar Ray Leonard that was it?
God, I hope not. Yeah. Best of luck in your retirement. On that card.
No, wait. Forget best of luck in your retirement. You've had one of the greatest fucking lives I've ever seen, so congratulations. And in your next phase, goddammit, because I take 30% of what he's accomplished and be very happy in life.
Can I not get those 7.5 years in prison?
I'm not talking about that part.
Alexander Usyk KOs Tbiso Machunu when they opened that card on HBO. And I said this was his first impression of the American audience. It was good, but not great. It didn't leave an impression, but it was decent enough to where it's like, I'll give it a second chance. If you do, like if you're a casual fan, that you'd be like, I'll give it a second shot. You know what I mean? But it wasn't so impressive. Like, I have to see his next fight.
As long as they can put him on a card under a headline and do just fine. Mm-hmm. Because eventually, I think if you just leave him up there every now and then, he's gonna give you a moment.
Yeah.
It's just he couldn't give you that spectacular moment that night.
Yeah.
But he gave you a good enough moment.
And Machunu, he posed some issues. The size differential was insane. It was ungodly, man.
They need to start having Fuck this weight limit shit. You need to have a size limit.
It was like this. It looked like the reverse of like Valuev versus like Holyfield or David Hay. You know, like that kind of size difference. That's what it looked like, man. But you know, this was his first time, and you can even chalk up some of it to nerves. Your first time on the
Right.
on the American stage, you know that people get nervous, man. That's just part of it. You know, we'll see what he does from here on.
What round was it?
This night.
So even with nerves, he got a late stoppage.
Yeah.
Even with nerves. So that lets you know, now that he's been there, done that, he's gonna be in a pretty good position.
Yeah.
He's gonna be in a pretty good position.
I was thinking about this. It's like, you know what? If they want to put him in with a name that people actually maybe don't even, especially casual fans, don't know, they've never really seen, but they know the name Marco Huck. I would love to see him in a guy with that much experience. That's a perfect learning experience for him, and I think he's at that point now where you can get to him, and then a guy I want to see him fight.
His jaw.
Yeah, that's true. And the guy I would like to see him against Murat Gassiev, the guy just beat Lebedev. Have them fight a rematch, and then the winner of those two fights fight each other. Get some excitement going in the cruiserweight division on this side of the pond, because there is zero.
I mean, I think that'd be great. I think the cruiserweight division probably also needs to get on those welterweight cards or on some exciting fighters card. Because you're not gonna bring entertainment to that division because nobody acts like it exists.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta put yourselves in a good space. The next time, say Mikey fights. The next time, not this kind that's coming up. The next time, there's probably gonna be a big fight. One of y'all get on that. If y'all can score something big, you're gonna have a lot of eyes on it.
Well, Gassiev has fought on PBC.
Yeah, but
there's a reason you can put him right on there with that. So
right,
perfect.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just you put him on that stage, like right under somebody, because people be like, okay, he's gonna work.
Jojo Diaz, unanimous decision over Horacio Garcia.
Washed him.
Yeah, it was what it was. I the one thing about JoJo is, man, you want the power to be more. I mean, if he had any kind of like real power, like he has the kind of power that can wear you down.
Right.
But if he had any kind of, I wouldn't even have to say one punch power, but a guy who could knock you down repeatedly with, on the end of combinations, just that would make him such a dangerous fighter because he has a fun style. He's crowd pleasing. He's got the pedigree as far as being, he was an Olympian. Whether he had, huge success in there or not, he didn't. But he has the pedigree, and he's fighting in the right places. Let's put it like that. But he's still not helping bring that crowd out. He's still missing something that hasn't sparked with the crowd yet.
Right. And I think what it is what him calling out Russell. That's an interesting thing. I think he's still touching up his game because that time, like he's not gonna have knockout power one hand. Yeah, that's already a given.
Yeah.
Might not even have flash knockdown power. I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah.
But what I noticed and what I actually liked about him from the beginning is his pedigree, but also his ability to change. Because he's like, some fights, like the fight before that, when he was like, he had to sit on his punches more. So it's like he's implementing things in his game, and the question is going to be when that time hits, can he put it all together? Because I'm sure he's going to be landing some nice little sting on the end of those combinations, but he's getting this in there, that in there, this in there, but it's about time to put it all together because he can blow people out easily. But when he steps up to that championship competition, he's gonna have to take some physical stands, because he might not be able to blow out everybody like that.
Yeah.
So he's gonna have to I'm gonna have to make you respect me early. I'm gonna have to get you off me when you're trying to hold. I'm gonna have to, I'm gonna have to return fire when you get me with a couple good ones. He gonna have to do that stuff. So, and the fact that he called out Gary Russell, that's a championship fight. And in some ways, it's an interesting fight. In some ways, you could say Russell might be out of his league, but the layoff makes it all interesting.
Gary Russell's the guy who never fights.
Right, that's what I'm saying. With the layoffs, it makes it.
I saw the thing on Twitter that said Gary Russell says he wants to unify the division. Like at his pace, that'd be like 2025 by the time he gets through with 4 more fights. Jesus Christ, the guy never fights. He won the title 2 years ago.
You know what?
He won 2 years ago. He won the title. He has defended it 1 time.
Exactly. And this is one of those moments where
He's got a great fight coming up next month.
Yeah, but after this, because we did allude to that, I saw the video with Birdo talking about, Al Hammond told all the PBC fighters, you fighting everybody. And I'm like, good. There's about goddamn time. But where Russell's concerned, your hand should be good now. Because of the lack of fights in years.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, I would say he's gonna have to probably fight 3 times next year. Not even just for his sake, just to get his name back in the mix, because I can't see him doing a Charlo.
Yeah.
Because of his hands. I can't see him just knocking somebody out and people saying, "Oh shit." Yeah, I mean that's how he won.
Yeah.
But even that situation with Johnny, that kind of was under emotional circumstance. Not saying he wasn't the better fighter, but that circumstance probably, it played into it.
All right, let me finish off with the JoJo thing, and then I want to jump right back to what you said about the PBC thing. JoJo is definitely one of the most fun prospects to watch. Nobody ever says, I hate watching JoJo Diaz fights. They suck. No, they don't. They never suck. Sometimes they can get sometimes monotonous, like this last fight was kind of like that. All that tells me is that he needs to step up in competition. Calling out Russell, that's the right step. Now there's a gap between Horatio Garcia and Gary Russell Jr. Now let's find where that person is that fits in that gap, and let's fight that guy. Let's take the step, because I think that could be that step may be too much. Might be, I say, because Gary Russell can lay a turd. That's what he does. But I think he's shown to be. He learned a lot in his loss. Mm-hmm. Losses can be so good for you. JoJo, let's put it like this: it's title time in 2017. If he doesn't win a title, it's a lost year for him. It really is. Especially if he doesn't get a title shot in 2017, it's just a waste.
Yeah, if he doesn't get a title shot, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
But but that mentality, title or bust, that's gonna work.
Now the PBC, I know you're talking about Berto saying, "Yeah, everybody got the call. We fighting everybody. Everybody's fighting everybody." Hashtag Laura Foreman. That was the thing I put out there.
Yeah.
After that card.
Yeah.
And hashtag Wilder Warwick. But you see what I'm saying?
I think I get exactly what you're saying, and I also give the credit to on the other side of that spectrum, because it's like I know Heyman was sitting somewhere like, you motherfuckers are really fucking this up. He was setting up I can't say he wasn't setting up the fight because he's the head of that organization. So, but at that moment, I'm sure he was sitting at a table like, you know what, I've been giving y'all what y'all wanted, and I can see y'all been weaseling out of fighting the real good fights. Yeah. So fuck this, you gonna fight, and it's going. With him, it's gonna have to start with the welterweight division, and that's why I was glad that Berto said it, because Berto is a welterweight. Yeah. And it's like, well, if he got the call, and I know he's game to fight anybody, but that means everybody else that's a welterweight got that call. So that means all of y'all going at it. Sean Porter, thank you. We are on your side.
Sean Porter, that poor guy can't get fights to save his life. Now. there was a time where we did so many shows separated. Oh yeah, it was this time. That was the show we did it, and separate. And that's what I was saying. I think that this is the PBC's last stand, and I'm gonna enjoy it. And I don't mean the last stand like, oh, they're going away, but the last stand like I think being major players, because just from what the stuff that came out, like the money that they have lost, like from people who've read the court documents, like they lost even more money than what was put out there. I mean it's in the like $750 million range that they've lost, which is insane.
Yeah, I can't see.
Now that's insane to do that in less than 2 years. It was like 18 months. Like that's crazy. And so because of that, it kind of forces you out of like, well, we can't overpay for bullshit now. We got to start seeing some kind of return on our investment. So I'm going to enjoy this. And honestly, I wish them the best, man, because I'm going to be watching. They have fucked up their platform. Their platform being Showtime. Showtime was their biggest platform. They do get good ratings on free TV, but it's free TV, and they're not getting very much ad revenue. So it really hasn't translated.
Right.
So they do need to get on the better fights. See, their problem is they're going to put a lot of these best fights on Showtime. Showtime lost a lot of their subscriptions. There's no way around it. I had Showtime only for the fights. I have HBO for the fights, and then for some of their shows that was on there. I actually like some of their shows on there, you know.
Well,
and I don't think Showtime had that. I think Showtime had a lot of subscribers who had Showtime just for the boxing, because their shows aren't the best. You know, and I don't think it carried a lot, because you remember they were getting million views on their shows, and now they rarely get anything over 300-something thousand. Their highest one this year was 500,000. Their highest one. That's crazy. That's how much subscription they lost. Now, HBO's went from like 1.4, 1.2. They're right at the million mark. Now, they also have taken a hit, but not the kind of hit that Showtime is doing. Now, me saying that was just because if they're putting their best fights on Showtime, it's not getting these fighters the exposure they now want.
And that, like the NFL has the same problem. And I get it. Just on a business sense, because money is not, ad revenue is not the same as it once was 3 years ago. So you're going to see the PBC on YouTube as it is, Twitter, Facebook as it is, you know, like it's because of all these different streaming platforms. You're gonna see who's the cream of the crop as far as gaining real attention, because people have a shitload of followers. Like Adrian Broner has a shitload of followers. People like to see him get into fights, whether he wins or loses. If he wins, it's like, I want to see somebody whip his ass though. If he loses, yes, he got his ass whipped. So he has that thing. Sean Porter is one of those fighters we just like watching, because he's always bringing it, but they haven't been giving him the type of shine he should get, you know. But he is one of the fighters that Facebook sparring session, people gonna look in the future and be like, you know, that was a dope ass idea, because other people are gonna start doing things like that to promote fights, you know. It didn't do as much as people wanted to, but that was a trailblazing idea.
I'll tell you, it's kind of like the XFL. All right?
Right.
People laugh at the XFL. The NFL picked up some things from the XFL, the way that the game was shot.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not the way the game was played, but how about the camera on the field? That was never on before. That was the XFL getting you inside the huddle. They used to do that. Well, they don't do inside the huddle, but they're always on that field. How about that camera from the cables? That was an XFL thing. So Al Heyman, I would say his biggest contribution from the PBC side was forcing a lot of these fighters, a lot of these promotions, especially Golden Boy, to go to the internet, going to the app platform, going to that. He forced that by changing the game, by taking the money out of buying the fights. Now, that doesn't mean that it may succeed. It could still, maybe, but it trailblazed a new way of thinking in as far as how do I get my content out there.
And that's why, part of the financial loss is because of building that platform on other networks to do it. But another part of that financial loss, it was the fucking fights were... I'm not going to say the fights were shitty. What I'm going to say is the seasons were shitty. Mm-hmm. They had a season of shitty fights and a season of great fights. And it was like, it kept going up and down. It's like, if you could just keep a consistent type of fight going, it would generate more, because people gave the PVC a good chance when it came out. There's some decent fights there. Then the fights went down. Then when the fights went up, people was like, oh, they fighting good again. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, they started watching more. Then the fights went down again. And it's like, we ain't watching that shit. And then they had to do it all over again. And that was because fighters not fighting the fights that the fans wanted to see.
I would also say that Heyman is one of the absolute worst promoters in the game as far as promoting fights. One, he's not out there, so he doesn't promote anything. Two, his fighters are so inactive that for reasons that aren't always just the fighters, that, okay, you take a guy like Errol Spence. Everybody's high on Errol Spence.
Right.
When was the Olympics over? In August?
August.
Isn't that when Spence fought? Didn't he get 6 million viewers?
Yeah,
Wasn't that the highest that it has been in years and years and years? Yeah. And what has he done with it? Not a damn thing. Spence should have fought before the end of the year. You try to translate that, especially in a fight that he didn't even take any damages.
I wouldn't be surprised if Spence was the catalyst for this. I really wouldn't. Because...
he has to be, I think.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, Spence, after that fight, that's when you saw numerous welterweights. Oh, he needs to... the champions were saying what he needs to... the other fighters was like, oh, he cool, but... and it's like... and to me, it could have been a catalyst, because I'm like, I could see Heyman like, motherfucker, we got all these views with Spence, and don't nobody want to step in the ring?
How about this? Let me ask you this. Do you think if Errol Spence said, you know what, I want to fight Sean Porter in December, do you think Sean Porter would have said yes?
Oh, that would have been... oh, that's fucking...
would he even said yes?
Hell yes.
Okay, there you go. That tells me that that's a Heyman problem.
No, that one, that particular one, that would be a Heyman problem.
Because I'm just saying,
because Spence is the star, or the rising star, and Porter could just shut that shit down on the right night.
But he's also a name that you think, I think Errol Spence could take him. And you know what? That leads me now. Who's he trying to fight? He's trying to fight Kell Brook. Oh, let's see. We can actually have something to compare with. And it's a name that everybody knows. You capitalize on the 6 million. You get people back in. Now, by the time he fights again, the earliest he's going to be able to fight is February. But he's probably not going to fight till March. Now you're looking at 7-8 months. And people done forgot about it. All those people who saw the fight for the first time, they done forgot about it, man.
And that's like a Porter fight. See, man, here's the fucked up part about being Sean Porter. Great fighter. I think he's going to be a champion again someday. But they put him in situations that if he loses 2 fights in a row to 2 great fighters, they're going to consider him a journeyman. Mm-hmm. And that's unfair to him.
No. I totally disagree. I think that would be the best thing to happen to him. Because then people will want to fight him because he's a journeyman. And then he's going to shock people. And then he's going to get right back into that mix.
No. Yeah, I get what you're talking about. Yeah. I don't think the fighters in that division have the balls or nuts to fight him even after that. I think, oh well, he's old news now.
You're right, but the young guys are going to have to fight him because now he's the journeyman that you go through.
He beat the shit out of him.
Exactly, that's the point.
But he couldn't get.
He's still getting punished for beating the crap out of Adrian Broner.
Yeah,
I mean let's just be honest. I still think that John Molina Jr. is still getting punished for knocking out Mickey Bay. I still think Floyd's punishing him and Al's punishing for that. Because if you think about it, they brought him over. Let's see, he had the fight with Matisse on Showtime. He had the fight with Provodnikov. Provodnikov going to knock him out. Hold on, send him over to Crawford. I mean, he's still paying the price for knocking out Mickey Bay.
Yeah,
I can see that. You get on their bad side. Let's go.
But you know what? But he has a great runner in the meantime.
He absolutely does.
But I do not think they would give Sean Porter that run.
Yeah.
Because he might come out a little too well on the end of that run.
We're talking about learning from losses. I'm gonna go. We got to kind of speed up a little bit on this.
Habana.
Learning from losses. How about Sullivan Barrera learning from his loss from Andre Ward in knocking out Shabransky, Czeslaw Shabransky in 7? I think it was 7.
6 or 7.
First of all, Shabransky just does the one thing over and over again. I thought it was going to be enough. You were right. You called Barrera. I thought it was going to be a close fight, and then it's one of those ones where you're like, man, did he learn enough from losing? Because a loss is such a good thing to learn from. He looked like, it was a good fight too. Knocked down in the first by Barrera, knocked down in the second by Shabransky, and then finally Barrera finishes him off. But you could see it go, especially after the knockdown, after Barrera got knocked down, you could see it was going downhill for Shabransky at that. Like, Barrera's like, I'm not going to let that happen again.
As long as he keeps this mentality and this improvement in work ethic, he's going to be the fighter that both Ward and Kovalev go, you know what, this motherfucker is going to be a pain in my ass. If he can get a hold of Adonis Stevenson, I mean, you gotta pay Usain Bolt to chase down Adonis Stevenson first, but if he can get that, he's gonna cause a problem. Like that's why I said earlier, him, Joe Smith, either they're gonna fight to each other, or they're gonna fight Adonis Stevenson, and that little 4-player situation is great for that division. And that's actually what Kovalev and Ward need. Because if they bullshitting on making this rematch, which that's what I'm gonna call it if it doesn't happen, if it isn't their next fight, is bullshitting on a rematch.
You talking about the retiring Ward?
Well, people, yeah, but that's not true. Look, it's boxing. Just because you said you're retired, we don't believe that. Yeah. He's gonna get a call from Bernard. Motherfucker, I'm retiring. You can't retire when I'm retired.
I think the fight that opened everybody's eyes that night though was Rashidi Ellis, Eddie Gomez, the knockout in one, and Rashidi Ellis in a fight that people were like, I don't know which way to go. Do you go Ellis? Do you go Gomez? This is gonna be a good fight.
We know now.
It was a good knockout in like 30 seconds or whatever it was, 45 seconds. I don't even know how long it was. Rashidi Ellis.
Well,
can you not wait to see his next fight now?
Yeah, I was about to say, I think he needs to be, undercard, main event.
Maybe you go from HBO Latino to HBO, right?
Yeah, you need to be look, hey, you saw the shit he did last time, right?
Whoa.
We need to bring some viewership here.
And the way that he had people talking like, now when and the name is so unique, Rashidi.
You can't miss it.
They'll know that, oh yeah, that's that dude,
Yeah,
even if you don't remember, like, that's that dude, what I mean?
How many people you know named Rashidi?
Yeah, exactly. None. Rashid? Yes. Rashidi? No.
Sometimes people with creative, fucked up names make out just fine in life. Oh, yeah. You stand out in public.
You know how many Shaquills I see nowadays? Good Lord Almighty.
Y'all some biting ass parents.
Terrible. Terrible. It's not a good name anyway, people. It's a good name if you're 7'3" and 350 pounds. That's when it's a good name.
What if I name my son Shaq? He's going to be about 5'7". We call him the Big Diesel. He's all.
Oh shit, Muggsy O'Neal.
That's like Darren Sproles. You know his nickname is Tank.
Oh, he's kind of built like it though.
No, because he was a big baby. They thought he was going to be bigger than this. He's Tank.
Hey, he's 5'7" up, 5'7" wide. Man. That's just how he is, man. What about your boy Alexander Povetkin, man? He can't keep a test clean to save his fucking life.
Hey, man. You know, we talked about this already. Nobody's going to Russia now.
Well, how about the fact that you failed 2 tests in Russia where you thought it was impossible to fail tests?
Impossible in Russia?
First of all, he's a joke. I can't believe that Duhopis ended up filling in. He probably got paid very well.
Hell yeah.
In his damn ASIC running shoes. That was the best part of it.
We just gonna check Duhopis' medical records after this fucking fight, because he might have got paid well, but he might not be able to spend that fucking money.
His mental capacity may not be good either to actually take that. How about Hassan Mdam? Knocking the fuck Blanco in
That was scary.
20 seconds.
Entertaining but scary.
Go watch that if you guys haven't seen it. I mean, he sent his legs into convulsions, man.
It's one of those knockouts where you go, yeah, hold up, somebody call a medic.
Did you see how fast the doctor ran into the like?
Yeah.
Like I thought it was Jinky trying to hold Manny's head.
Okay,
No, that was the guy holding. Yeah. But no, I mean, like literally, he got hit, and the doctor started running through the ropes to go grab him. Like, oh my god, I think he might be dead.
And you know what? That twitching.
Yeah.
You look, it was funny. What was the fighter back in the day who was boxing on his back?
That was Simon Brown. He got knocked out by Vincent Petway.
That was funny. This one was scary.
Simon Brown, who had a iron chin up to that point. Iron chin. Oh, man, Mike Tyson was going crazy on that fight, too, because he was doing the call. That might have been the time when he was still suspended. I don't know how the time frame works.
I know.
That was on Showtime. I remember watching that fight live. I'm like, oh, my. I had that tape. Did you not watch that tape from me back in the day?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my tape. I gave it to dude at work. He gave it to you. I gave it to Mike. Gave it to you. The old VHS tape. That was from me. I had that on VHS.
I know one thing. Would you wonder if he was a kid in the neighborhood talking shit to him? I'll knock you out, old man. Look, I want to show you something. Look at this. Look at this highlight. You see this? You remember this? This is me. This old man. That's okay, old man.
Canelo. In talks with Chavez Jr. at 165.
You know this is some bullshit.
Well, that's just typical Chavez at this point. I mean, typical Canelo at this point. And look, let's be honest. Was he not telling the truth? He says, I'm not a middleweight. Was he telling the truth? Yes. See, he's a super middleweight. See, everybody called him a liar. See, he's not a true 160 fan. He's a true 168 fighter now. Right? Fighter.
Okay. I'm just going to say this, and I'm going to be mean-spirited when I say this. Triple G, if he makes this fight, because people say, oh, man, it's a good fight. It could be a good fight. Well, here's the problem with that. Canelo picked Chavez Jr. for a fucking reason, because he's a quitter.
Yeah.
Is he a good... Is Chavez a good boxer when he's focused? Yes. Is he ever focused? No, not necessarily. So... this could be the fight that Chavez gets paid because he likes to get paid and get his ass bounced out of boxing so he can have an excuse to not box anymore. But at the same time, this is a bullshit excuse to say, oh, see, he can beat a bigger man. But this bigger man don't necessarily want to fight. Now, this could bite him in the ass because I don't see him really knocking out Chavez Jr.
No, I don't see it either.
But,
well, I don't either. Nah, I don't see it either.
But at the same time, the one thing about Chavez Jr. that's a positive, if you give him one round to act like he want to fight, he will try to take you out.
He will.
But if I'm Triple G, I walk smack into the ring after this fight. Because I'm going to still say if Canelo wins. Because this is going to really be the first time he fought somebody that was bigger. So let's see if he can actually do damage to him.
It's true.
And even though I don't want to admit this, Chavez is a hell of a body puncher. So if he sees that gives Canelo trouble, it could cause trouble in that fight. But I walk in the middle of the ring after the fight. I don't say hi. I don't say what's up to Max Kellerman. I don't say, Chavez, I want to fight you. I don't say good job. I walk up in the middle of the ring with my Jordan outfit on, with the Kazakhstan colors, and I slap the fuck out of Canelo on national TV and walk out the ring.
Mexican style.
Yes. What? You know what? With a luchador fucking had a mask on.
Mask on.
Yeah.
That makes everything better. Yeah. Let's talk about that real quick then. Triple G did finally get the fight signed with Danny Jacobs. It's going to happen March 18th, Madison Square Garden. It finally, they They finally dragged it out as far as it would go.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see it. We always said that it was going to happen. Remember, it was kind of like we were like, that's the one guy. He's not afraid of him. I mean, he beat cancer, so he ain't afraid of that. You know what I mean? But he did have me worried because he did have me second guessing myself for a while there. Like, he sure seems to be bullshit. When you need 18, well, no, I mean that's a joke. He needed 12 weeks to train or 11 weeks to train for the fight. I mean, like, man, 9 weeks wasn't enough.
See, this is the problem with this business shit, and this is my fundamental problem with the fighters and their teams talking business, right? Your team should already know how to handle business by now. Y'all should be able to say, and since everybody likes to use this model, we're gonna use the Floyd Manning model. When those motherfuckers signed up to fight, that shit took 37 seconds.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you know what? Fuck it, they're fighting next week. Okay, for real? Well, we got the billboards, we got everything going. We got the thing. The shit was just off and running. It was an agreement to fight, and it was fighting. And that happened because both of the teams was like, you know what? You know what I'm bringing to the table? I know what you're bringing to the table. This is what's on the table. Okay, can we negotiate? A little bit left, a little bit right. Bam, bam, bam. Let's get this shit going. You know, sign your name, let's go. So if y'all want to follow that quote-unquote business model, your team needs to be prepared to make these fucking fights. They shouldn't say, look, man, you know what? Let me see how I can say this. That bullshit hood lie. I'm going to call you back in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Man, I ain't talked to you in 3 weeks. Where the fuck you been at? I told you I was going to call you right back. 5 minutes ago, 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Stop doing that shit. Because y'all could have had the bet. If you would have made the fight when we were complaining about making a fight, do y'all realize y'all could have had that fight on New Year's Eve this year? It would have been, and the 12 weeks would have been covered. And everybody would have been going out. And everybody would have been watching because everybody's drinking, everybody's boxing, everybody wants an ooh moment. Somebody gets a couple of kids that night, and people have sex and get drunk. Bam, y'all got the biggest event of the year.
And usually not in that order.
Yeah.
Usually they get drunk, then have sex.
Yeah, but you're right. You're right.
And because you talked about that a couple times, the New Year's Eve card that UFC jumped in on, and now they do their. It's not necessarily New Year's Eve, but they do it like the end of December. They did do one on New Year's Eve, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't understand. Just hop on. They need to hop on these days when they got them.
Yeah, they don't. They'll bullshit through February after Super Bowl when nothing's going on. They'll bullshit through that through March.
Right, and that kills me because, and we've talked about this before with boxing. You need to learn how to take advantage of these dates because it's very much so easy to make a super fight or a mega fight or bullshit super fight or mega fight if you pick the right date. See, everybody wants to go with, we're going with Cinco de Mayo. Well, y'all, you know why y'all doing that? Because y'all just following the trends.
Yeah.
Why not have a fight the weekend before the NCAA championship, the football championship?
That's what they're doing. No, the football championship.
Yeah.
Oh, so they're doing they're doing March Madness. This is March Madness weekend.
Right.
Their fight.
Right. But that's not a good idea. Because March Madness ends in April now. I don't know. We need to stop. It's gonna be next year. 10 years from now, that shit gonna be May Madness when it's done.
That should be the first weekend, right?
Yeah. But when you do that,
February after the Super Bowl is a dead 3 weeks.
Yeah, but you can play. The Super Bowl is on a Sunday. Watch this.
Ain't nothing going on Saturday.
Check this out. I had to sit down. If you want to make a fight right now, make a fight with Errol Spence and anybody in Houston Saturday before the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
If the stars line up correctly, the fucking Cowboys will be playing. I hope to God they won't, but the Cowboys will be playing. You have a Dallas fighter with the fucking Cowboys in Texas. With all the superstars in the fucking world, with who are looking to party and go out all night, you having fucking mega fight on your hands. Matter of fact, fucking, we talked about this earlier. Sean Porter and Errol Spence, Super Bowl Saturday fight in Houston, in the Compact Center, or another theater, something.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it, I could be a promoter. You motherfuckers need to hire
Well, it would
us.
be at, what do they call it now? What do they call it? Is it NRG Arena?
Yeah.
The arena right next to it. Right next to the, I still call it Reliant. It's
the same
it's
thing.
NRG is Reliant. I call it Reliant still, but that's where I would put it.
can't-
You have the stars out. You have the parties going out. It is what it is, man. That's about it. We got it all in. Our last quote unquote live show of the week, because the other ones are now tape delayed.
Yeah.
The next two shows. Let's just put it out. The next two shows are going to be taped. One has already been taped. The first half that'll be out next week. In a couple days, we're going to be taping the last half of our award show, and that'll be the first week of January. Just so people know, the second week of January there will be no show. The third week of January we will be back, and that's how it's going to run. We're going to have to. We are taking 3 weeks off, but you guys are still going to only get 1 week off of the show. That's it. We're going to put shows out for you guys. And if something does pop up, we'll always throw in 20 minutes. We can do an individual 20 minutes. That's easy.
If somebody, another fighter gets arrested. But you know what? Fuck this. We're going hood style. Free Terrence Crawford. We got free Terrence Crawford's t-shirts online.
Again, thanks to everybody who's listened throughout the year. We appreciate you guys. Love to all the shows that retweet the show and push the show. All the listeners who do that, we appreciate all you guys. At the beginning of the year, I will try to make a list and shout you guys out at the beginning of the year. We really appreciate everybody who does it. And we're only going to keep on building, man. I got something big lined up. Not big, not really big, but something different lined up.
Humongous.
I want to create the quadcast.
Oh, shit.
You remember simulcast?
Yeah.
When people used to do radio,
Yeah.
record radio and TV. I want to record. Check this out. We got to get a lot of devices. Record for the show for iTunes. Record on YouTube Live.
Right.
Record on Twitter Live. Record on Facebook Live, because you have a Facebook thing. We can do Facebook Live,
All right.
YouTube
Yeah.
Live, Twitter Live, and Blog Talk Live for 30, 45 minutes.
We're going to go on the Guinness Books of World
The
Records.
quadcast. I think it's a great idea, man.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Anything else, man?
This is where the fighters fight and the fans commentate.
And we do it just like you from the cheap seats, because we ain't buying no tickets, goddammit. Peace.
Believe that I'll never be shamed again. Again, I'll be the next heavyweight champion. Call me crazy, but no one can fade me. I'm the product of the projects, lost and crazy. Throw your hands up, Mr. Bruno. Ride. Big Mike Tyson about to brutalize that ass tonight. No hesitation for the whole nation. I'll beat that ass so bad I'll probably violate probation. Through demonstration as I strategize information. Intent to kill, so it's real like I'm catching cases. Let the world know I plan to die. If I don't leave